So I want to welcome everyone here to our masterclass. It happens to be the beginning of the year, but frankly, this conversation could be happening at any time. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen and get us onto this morning conversation, reminding everyone who maybe just joined that we are going to be, are you seeing the right view?
Yeah. Well,
Okay.
No, I'm seeing the preview
yeah.
view.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah, I have to opposite
So,
here. That's what I want to share. Okay, is that better?
yes.
All right, let's start at the beginning. Okay, just a reminder, we will have a recording and it will be sent out to you. And I want to welcome everyone. My heart is rich and full seeing all of you here. I'm so grateful for you spending some time on this Saturday morning with us. Patricia and I are going to be talking about feeding your heart's true hunger and journeying beyond food to nourish what truly needs feeding. And the process that we walk through covers discover, explore, and awaken. Do you want to introduce yourself, Patricia, for those who don't happen to know who this crazy, amazing woman is?
Hello, everyone. I'm Patricia. I have been working on different empowerment issues for many years now, and I'm a life coach. I also do coaching for Everett's classes and in the parts work. And on my own personal journey and watching others on their journey, and the focus of others being on, I want this to stop. I want it to be over. I want to be done. And here we are one more time again. And here's the secret. It's not about the food. It's about your heart's desire and what you're longing for that you're not getting by just looking at the food and beating up yourself because once again, you haven't stuck to a plan. Or you are sticking to a plan, but you're holding on by your bloody fingernails. We're going into a deeper dive here. I have a lot of 12-step background. That's been a very important foundation for me in the 80s when I went through 12-step, and I still hold a lot of the principles to that. It still informs me. And I work with clients on who are we in there? Who's in there? As opposed to, I am sick and tired of this. I want it done. Just tell me the secret for it to be done. And here's the secret. You just keep deepening. You just keep deepening. I'm sorry. I would like to say, okay, here it is. You're done. Bibbity babbity boo. But when we can shift and look at things in a different way, it not only not doesn't become oppressive, it becomes exciting. So how do we do that? How do we shift how we're looking at it?
She's also wonderful to work with, just so you know. This is me. I have for many years, frankly, since the second chapter in the Bright Line Eating book about willpower, I glommed onto the idea that there were some things about us that we were not in control of, even though we watched ourselves, even though we could say, nope, I'm not doing this anymore. And then we'd watch ourselves go do it. I've done a lot of research with the neurological, the psychological, the physical reasons that we go to food. I've connected disparate dots. I listen to people who are talking about alcohol and drug addiction, who are talking about the dopamine and the hits that we get and the dopamine desert that frankly I feel we're in when we go on any kind of food plan. I've released 170 pounds. That's an interesting aspect to my journey because I come from really big numbers. I have a lot of excess skin. So my journey down with that weight loss also meant accepting what I looked like thin. I have worked for the last 4.5 years with the Magic membership, which I am truly honored to be included in. I have private coaching and small group coaching. And the most beautiful part of this has been working with Patricia. the two of us, I feel, really balance each other really well. She works very much from the spiritual or the I don't want to say metaphysical, but the spiritual world versus my take. I usually, if you ask me, okay, Sonja, two things. Can you reframe this for me? Because this is really bugging me. I'm a master reframer. Ask anybody. And the second thing is that if you ask me why this thing is happening to you, what's going on inside of you physiologically, I have an answer. So together, all of us, you're here. We do share a journey, all of us. And there's a moment of recognition when we can realize that we're all in the same boat. For those of who know the plan that makes sense, you know the plan that works for you. Do you want to talk about some of this, Patricia?
Okay, the moment of recognition for those who know the plan that makes sense, frustrated because here I am again. Here I am again. How come I'm here again? I just want this to be done. Why is this happening to me? What's wrong with me? Just tell me what to do. Just tell me what to do. I'll do it. Trying to get it perfectly right and doing it over and over. No matter how much we hear it's not about the food, we still keep making it about the food instead of looking at what's going on. How are we looking at the world that's bringing us the desire to stuff food into ourselves, to shut up?
It's scary. It's scary to look beyond the food. I would much rather just say, okay, give me this list. I will do it. Tell me how to do these things and I will do it. The fact is, each one of us is unique. I have a PhD in me. I know what foods work for me. I know what foods don't work for me. I also know what triggers me. I also know if I have a trigger, I'm going to want to go for these foods. Relatively speaking, they're foods. But the definition of insanity is doing the same thing and expecting a different result. And that's what has been just keeping me awake and waking me up in the middle of the night with all of these amazing ideas to help support people in understanding that where we are right now is often in a place that feels untenable. It doesn't feel comfortable. It doesn't feel nice. Your wisdom hasn't disappeared, though. You know exactly how to eat well. And it worked beautifully before. And maybe you're in a place right now where it doesn't feel like it will work, or you're worried about it working, or you feel like you can't do this again. It's not going to work. You don't have that trust, that unconscious limiting belief within you.
Yeah, we don't even know we have beliefs that we think that don't serve us because we just think that's how everybody thinks. That's how we think. But there are thoughts that we think that don't serve us. And this way of turning around what we have been raised with in our culture, how we were raised in our family, the neural pathways that we have it takes staying in this conversation, staying in the conversation of I'm noticing what's coming up and looking at what's coming up, and we'll be going into more of that now here. But it's not a one and done. It is my life. I am living my life on a daily basis. And I need to look at what's coming up, not as a burden, but maybe as something's being shown to me that something's not quite working, and I need to look at that. Nothing's wrong. It's coming up for my own edification. Often we look at it as this burden and how come me and why am I doing that? And we go into our mind, which feels like reality, but it's just how we're looking at it, saying, here I am again. Oh my God. And this happened and I'm doing this wrong and I'm doing this wrong. There's other ways we can look at things that we have to take a lot of practice at. It takes a lot of practice. It took us a lot of practice to get where we are. We need to practice some other things.
And it's important to respect where you are right now. Respect the parts of us that are activated or feeling a little bit nuts or feeling angry or feeling resistant, that lovely rebel, that lovely indulger. There's a reason that they're so loud. There's a reason that you have outsized emotions. And those underlying feelings can be turned down. Those issues can be reviewed. It helps. It helps to recognize where you are in this moment and to feel like, okay, is it okay for me to sit right here right now? Because that feels really uncomfortable. I don't like it. I don't want to go. I want to be in some other place. Please move me.
This is where I am. I am here now. I am here now. I don't want to be here. I want to be over there, but I'm not over there. I'm here, but I don't want to be here. I want to be over there, but I'm not over there. I'm here. It's important to know, okay, this is where I am. I am here right now in this moment. I'm going to start. Continue from here. I have learned, there's a lot I have learned, and I'm going from here. We're not starting over. We have a thought that we think that we are starting over. We are not starting over. We have come through what we have come through, and this is where we are now in this moment. Let's go from here.
If you can consider food as the most beautiful coping mechanism and grant it the grace that it deserves and release it, powerful. So speaking of releasing it, the moment of shift, I've seen a lot of posts lately because of January when people want things to be different. They're okay, I'm going to start. Everyone else is starting. It's a beautiful time. There's a momentum, as you can see from this picture. There's this beautiful breeze that's blowing her hair, although it's all made of rocks and stuck. There's so much about this picture I love. But when we're in that place of feeling like I need to do something different, I need something different. When the trusted approaches feel insufficient, the feeling of trying a new program has this virginal aspect to it that is dopamine intensive. Dopamine is an anticipation hormone. And when we're going back to the thing that we've done before, it can be a real struggle because it doesn't feel new anymore. Frankly, after a relationship goes for 3 or 4 years, we find that there's nothing new about it. We can't giggle about the noises they make in the middle of the night. We can't get, oh, that's just them leaving the toothpaste top off.
I was good for 9 months. Why am I not doing it anymore? What is going on? It's because of that. There's something coming up now to be looked at in a new way. So how can we embrace that and look at it as opposed to think something's wrong and something's wrong with us? It's just that something's coming up to be re-looked at and reimagined. And we're going to go through some of the ways that that can be done together.
As I mentioned before, food becomes a messenger. How many of you, this is something for me, I was heavily involved in the Bright Line Eating program. I still am in my heart and in my thoughts and in my actions. And the food is a beautiful gift. Bright Line Eating ruined eating for me. I no longer looked at it the same way. I never realized how many ways I did things without thinking. I would notice, oh, wow, I just finished that whole bag. I would know that as I left work, I was going to veer through the drive-through. Now, whenever I have a craving or an urge, it's an opportunity because of the shifting and the work that I've done has nothing to do with the program that I'm on. But the program that you're on may or may not support you, but there are other things about this journey. Redefining this diet journey. Let's do that. Patricia?
Yes.
Do you want to talk about the finding a better plan and getting more discipline and willpower?
All right. I'm not sure exactly what you mean.
Do you want to give me, here's what I want to know. All right. I have had to make changes to my food plan. I had a food plan that worked. I released 170 pounds, but during that time, it took 2 years. During that time, I had to make some significant changes to my plan. I had to look at the rules that were there for me, and I had to decide, okay, I have certain physical things. My body is sophisticated. My body won't accept this thing. There was a time when I couldn't eat raw vegetables. So I had to make changes, and they countered the rules. My question is, can you look at these as sacred boundaries that are important for your body? For whatever reason, my body struggles with certain things sometimes. I have an immense reaction to gluten. I have a terrible problem with nightshades. My system is very clear. And for whatever reason, it could be because of the decades of ultra processed garbage. It could be the decades of stress. It could be my underlying health conditions, whatever. The fact is, finding a solution in the moment required making a shift and letting go of the idea that I needed to stick to these particular rules. I need to have these sacred boundaries in place. So thinking about not starting over again. Do you want to talk about that, Patricia?
Yeah, we're not starting. We keep thinking, I have to start again. I'm starting all over. We're not starting all over. We have gone down a certain trail and we've learned certain things, some things that have worked and some things that aren't working. It's our journey to see what's in the way here. There's another way. There's a way I'm looking at it that's not working. Not it's not working. I'm not working. The way I'm looking at it is not working. There's another way I can look at it. And that is a process that we will go through, like foundational processes that we can go through. And doing it together is such an important piece of it. And not going back to the same drawing board, but to add new things to our drawing board and to discover I'm the common denominator here. Nothing's wrong. I'm not wrong. I'm just getting stopped at a certain point and I need to go through that barrier. But I have come so far. You're not starting again. However long you've been at this, you have gained information and now we're just going through the things that we have put in our way to block us and how to relook at this in another way.
Yes, exactly. I did not believe, I was 58 years old. I'm 65 now. I was 58 years old. I did not believe I could lose the weight anymore. I didn't trust myself. I'd lost probably 1,000 pounds in my lifetime. I did not trust myself to not only lose the weight, but I sure as heck didn't know how to keep it off.
Yeah.
I felt this abject fear when I started to realize, oh my gosh, this is working. This is healthy. I feel great. What's going on here? How can I keep this? I was terrified of making a slip. And that's why the rules were so shattering for me. I needed to recognize, okay, I can actually trust myself. I know my body reacts really poorly to this. What can I do? And how can I keep the spirit of these rules? How can I keep this spirit and help with my sacred boundaries? That's how it felt for me, to shift to some sacred boundaries that would keep me in line. Whenever I feel unsettled or outsized, something is going on. And a little one is activated, an aspect of myself is outsized and charged, and there's something that I need to address. And that's scary. That's scary.
We're afraid if I open this, it'll get worse. If I open, and part of our work is to examine ourselves deeply inside to see what we're telling ourselves that's keeping us in the same place over and over again. And that's scary. And we get fear. And when we get fear, what do we want to do when we're in the state of fear? I don't know about you, but I want to eat because I'm afraid. And so I think being afraid is wrong. I can't go there because it makes me fearful. And so I stop it each time. I never knew you could stay the same weight. I thought you either were losing weight or gaining weight. There's no such thing as staying because as soon as you get to a certain weight, or not even if you get, as soon as you get down to a certain extent, you're going to start eating normally again. I didn't know it was possible that after all these years of being in that cycle, that I could actually find ways that are coming up that are leading me to answers for myself, my actual things that are leading me astray, maybe they're leading me to some answers.
Neither one of us likes to talk about the past in many ways, but think about, let's look at some hope. Noticing the shifts. Once we realize that, oh my gosh, I'm not supposed to be doing this, you're already noticing something is wrong. You're already noticing that something is happening underlying, that something is going on that is counter. It doesn't feel right anymore, right? Like I said before, bright line eating ruined eating for me. I can't mindlessly go in anymore. I'm no longer mindless. That is the first step in changing. Our amygdala grabbed the hold of any trigger or any trauma, pulls off the prefrontal cortex. Guess what is in the prefrontal cortex? Besides our thinking and our logicizing and our planning, guess what's in there? Your emergency action plan. The ability to make a phone call to a friend. Your amygdala takes over every time you're triggered, and you could be triggered about a bazillion things. You could be triggered because there's too many things on my list today and I don't know where to start. You could be triggered because there's an argument coming up or a confrontation that you have to have with someone or you don't want to have with someone. You could be triggered about any number of things, and your amygdala takes over, and guess what? Your prefrontal cortex goes offline and your insula starts the process of solving the problem. Because every single time you're looking at this situation, it is an internal, more than likely an internal issue. It's something inside of us. And that's what we talk about here, finding a deeper well, feeding your real hungers, figuring out what's going on inside of you so that you can connect back, because the act of noticing changes and your prefrontal cortex then goes back online. And you can actually pause for a minute and make at least a semi-conscious decision, or at least an ability to reflect back on the circumstances that caused you to eat.
We're so critical, and we don't even know what is critical that we're saying. We're not even aware that what we just said, because it seems like we're just shaping ourselves up, but we don't even hear how critical it is. I keep doing this. I'm not good at this. I'm really bad at that. Oh yeah, I'm not good at this with anyone. I'm really bad at this. I'm so bad at this. I keep doing that over and over again. We don't hear that as critical. Going over everything that's wrong with us is critical. Critical mind needs a break. And how does critical mind get a break? It puts food in our mouth because we need a break from going over and over these things. But how do we recognize it? We have to begin to get conscious, which takes a journey. It takes a while to understand, because it looks like I'm really shaping myself up by noticing everything I do wrong. But it's not true. We say, oh, I'm really bad at, oh, I'm not good at that. Oh, yeah, I don't do that well. I don't do that. We don't even hear it as criticism. So we have to get aware of, well, look what I just said to myself. How would I like it to be instead? What's a way I could say that differently to myself? But you have to first be aware. So you have to have that training to not be working on what's wrong with you. Stop working on what's wrong with you and start thinking about, what would be my best hope here? How could I hope it would be? And those subtle shifts over a period of time make such a big difference.
And that's what turns down the volume. The idea that it doesn't have to be, or even addressing. Anytime you address your own needs or someone else's needs in a resonant way, accompanying them, honoring where they are in this moment, anytime you're honoring those outsized emotions of yourself, giving them a minute to spew, and then say, wait a minute, honey, is this really true? Wait a minute. That turns the volume down.
And staying in that conversation, staying in with people who are going down through those conversations and noticing, and oh yeah, noticing, yeah. What's another way you could say that? They're not giving you advice, just exploring their own path.
The inner critic. I'm sure no one here has one.
You wouldn't be here.
I want to read a few things, and I want you to, if you can, to consider what you might be saying to yourself. Tommy says I have a section of them. Yes, I agree. I agree. Unconscious limiting beliefs is another way to put these things. And think about that for a minute. They're certainly limiting, and they're often unconscious when we have absolutes about ourselves. I had abject fear of not gaining of gaining my weight back again. I was terrified of it. I was terrified to land the plane. I was terrified to make the decision to finally start adding food, quote unquote, right? All of those things can come up for you. Doesn't mean that they're not real, but they might be limiting beliefs if you don't believe that if you feel I'm failing at this, I should be able to do this. I've done it before. Why can't I do it again? Look at all the people that are successful. I'd love to hear what your inner critic is saying. Elizabeth says, I refer to my critics as a Greek chorus.
Yeah. Starting to hear that, Elizabeth, starting to hear that, just starting to hear it, as opposed to beating ourselves up for hearing it. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, yeah. How would I like it to be? Oh, wait a minute. Hide, hide. You should be ashamed of yourself. Ooh, wow. Look at things we say to ourselves. If we said it, if we heard somebody else say it to somebody else, we would be aghast. I'll never be able to do this. I've never been able to. I'll never be able to do it. What's going to be different now?
I will always gain the weight back. Yeah.
I'm not good at letting go. Other people are good at that. I'm just not good at it. I'm just not good at it. Close the door. Oh, I don't think that way. Oh, I
And
just
it does make it easier, Patricia. It makes it easier. Then we don't have to deal with that whole chunk, like Tommy calls it, the jeering section. We don't have to deal with that entire area. And sometimes we need to chip away at this in little bits and pieces. If we were to list every single unconscious limiting belief and I want them fixed right now, guess what? It takes time. It takes time.
I'm really bad at this. Oh yeah, and not only that, I'm bad at it here, and I'm bad at it here, and I'm really bad at it here, and I've never been able to be good at it here, and I continue to be bad. I'm just bad.
Maybe I deserve to feel like this, Debbie says. Oh, I just heard that from one of my clients yesterday. Don't even try.
But you don't understand how I'm feeling. You don't understand how it hurts me. You don't understand how hurt it is. You don't understand. It's different for you. It's just, this is how it hits me.
We don't have to understand everyone's situation. And we don't have to go back to the beginning of our lives in order to figure these things out and let them go. What we get to do is look at how it's affecting our world today, how it's impacting my decisions today. How many coping mechanisms would you like to release? How many ways would you like to adjust? And if you think about, I can't even list the different reasons why we might go to food. But here's the thing. Every time you chip away at those, it makes everything less noisy. It makes ourselves less prickly. It makes those outsized emotions less loud, quieter.
Patty says, what can I do instead? We can't ask somebody else what we can do instead. We ask ourselves. What could I do in this moment instead of this phrase? What could I say instead? What have I done that was successful in the past? We have to go within ourselves and ask ourselves a different question, not make a statement of what's wrong, but saying, I think that is a fair question. What could I do instead? That's a fair question to ask ourselves and go within ourselves. What could I do instead? Get quiet for a second. Really ask it. Don't answer it. Ask it and see what comes. That's what we're not in the habit of doing. We don't ask ourselves. We just tell ourselves everything that's wrong. And you tell me what I can do instead. We are telling you what you can do instead. You can go into yourself and ask yourself, because this is my work. This is my work. Nothing's
And
wrong. Nothing's
And
wrong.
frankly, why were you doing this? Doing a reflection. We call it walking back the cat. Martha Beck has a great book all about this. Part of it talks about this, walking back the cat, looking at why you did it in the first place. The underlying reasons are often the things that are really the issue, not the actual act. Our insula is in charge when we're triggered. Our insula is doing what we've done before. It's the definition of insanity, if you will, because it's worked before. It's solved the problem. It's recognizing that our body is in crisis and it wants us to calm down. And so the insula is going to do the thing that is going to calm us and that has always worked before until now. That's the issue. That's the struggle. That's why it's so challenging now, because we know that it doesn't work, but we're doing it anyway. So how do we get to the underlying reasons, turn down the noise? So we either get triggered and we calm ourselves by strengthening that neural pathway back to the prefrontal cortex so we can use reason again, or we learn how to release that trigger in the first place and move it to the hippocampus where it belongs. Instead of that trigger, that feeling you get when you feel like you landed back in 1962, that moment. Yeah.
I feel like I'm 6 again.
Yeah. I was 3 at that time.
Wanda,
Yes.
yeah, Wanda says, this is a good one. Don't shine too bright, others won't approve, or others will be envious and you'll get killed for it. That's one I have. I have a you'll get killed. Because that's when I was younger, what it felt like it felt like I was killed for it. So it's my work to notice, look what I'm saying to myself. Wow, that's heavy. How could I look at this in another way? And this is a process. This is a process that going through together over a period of time can restructure the way we've been thinking of this over and over again. We can grow our center by going into it and saying, how else? What's another way I could think of it? I don't know. I don't know another way I can think of it because this is the way I've always thought about it. Let me ask. How else can I think about it? And see if another voice comes in there within you, your authentic self. Give it a second to answer.
And you're segueing beautifully, Patricia, into the practical path. There's a process, several components that Patricia and I have been working on for several years now. The concept of a practical path, I mentioned earlier about these sacred boundaries, creating your plan, meeting you exactly where you are right now, using those roadblocks, the reframing. What if Patty's situation, what if you could look at this as a new thing? Oh, wow, I'm excited about looking at this. I'm excited about diving into this. This is an opportunity. Why can't we look at a time when we go to food as a beautiful gift? It's pointing out something that we can get to work on. It's pointing that out.
We don't even have to be excited. We just have to be willing. All right. I don't know how to think this way because this is the way I've always thought, but I'm willing. Put a pinhole into this dark box that I'm in to see if I can let some light in here. I just have to be willing. I don't have to know how to do it. Just have to be willing to see that there's another way. These people are saying they found another way. I believe them. Maybe I don't, but if I do believe them, let me just open to the possibility to be willing. And sometimes I have to be willing. And sometimes I have to be willing to be willing.
It's a beautiful nuance. But if you think about it as in this picture, the different paths that you could take, most people would probably take the road. But what would happen if you veered off the road and climbed up onto the mountaintop and were able to see things a little differently? This is where the curious heart comes in for me. To be able to look at what's shifted and to be able to appreciate the shifts that we're under. I believe that I needed to be abjectly fearful when I first started this process. I needed that. And I slowly moved to healthy respect. I don't think I'm a pickle anymore because I don't eat ultra processed garbage. But that took a long time for me to get to this place. And it's not a one and done. It's not a fix in 10 days. It's not a fix in a month. It's not a fix in a year. It's taken me years to get to this place. But along the way, I've had a beautiful journey.
And I'm not done. I am not done.
I am
I
not
am not
done.
done. Still, presence hits me from time to time with something that's not comfortable. And I have enough trust in myself to know I will get through this. It doesn't send me backwards, it sends me forward.
When we
I don't
can be
have feelings, I still have deep feelings about it.
the willingness to explore new patterns, using compassion and curiosity, which are generally from our authentic self, which means we're grounded, which means some outsized emotion isn't pushing us in a different direction, isn't clouding the picture. When we can look at something with compassion and curiosity. Frankly, this image is so powerful for me because we all know what's actually happening. They had to capture in a micro millisecond because this hurricane of what is this bird? I can't think of the name. This hurricane, what?
Hummingbird? No?
Thank you, yes. This hurricane of a hummingbird is going, that's how my life is in many ways. But I know that in those quiet moments, I can sit with compassion and curiosity. Like Patricia said, I am still not done.
No.
But I'm excited about the possibility of something else coming up for me. Not always fun, but definitely vibrant. But finding the wisdom in the transition.
Patty again says, if I knew, now I'm reading this in this way, Patty, you may not have meant it this way, but I'm reading, if I knew, dot. If I knew, I would have done something. If I knew, but I don't know. And I'm not learning, and I keep doing the same thing, going into the mind, into that kind of circle. Wait a minute. I'm not going to come up with the answer in my mind. I'm going to ask my authentic self. I'm going to pretend I feel compassionate towards myself. What would I say to myself if I were being compassionate? What would I say to myself if I were being curious? We have to ask ourselves that. Others aren't going to give you an answer. And even if they did hit the answer right on the head for you, it won't translate to you. You will translate to you. And that is a practice. A practice. Not let me get through this course, now I'll never be this way. I'll be solved. No, but I will be deepened, and I'm deepening.
This awakening self, I just want to say, first of all, this is a picture of Patricia's garden in the summer. It's a Zen place. It's gorgeous. But growing into the wisdom, the fear of who I am if I'm not thinking about my food. My gosh, think about all the energy that it takes all day long. Oh, but there's a fear because this is known. I'm comfortable with this. It might not feel comfortable, but I know what I need to do and I know how to do it. Even if it's screwing up all the time, I know how to screw up all the time. I know how to eat off plan. I know how to, like Patricia said, I know how to lose weight. I know how to gain weight. But growing into that new wisdom.
Asking you.
Trust.
That's a process. That's a process that takes some understanding, and that takes a while, right? That takes a while. For those of us who are on that path, we know it takes a while. It takes a while. What? How do I am asking myself. I'm not getting an answer. We're going to go through all that we go through until we start. It starts to on the puzzle begins slowly to unfold, and then we go back, and then we go forward, and then we go back again, and then we keep going, and we go forward, back, then we go back again.
This is exactly what happens in our brains. the neural pathways that we grow and create and nourish and strengthen is what we're talking about here. And that's why it takes time. And it may not be fun to hear, but there's excitement about those changes, those feelings you get when you realize, oh my gosh, I just walked by the ends of 6 aisles and I didn't even blink. You know what I'm talking about. Trusting that you will evolve. Thinking about, I mean, my gosh, when I reflect back in my 20s and 30s and where I am today, crazy.
So
2 years ago now, Patricia, has it been 2-3 years now since we've been talking about the cornerstones?
yeah, for a while, for a long time, like getting the words for it, because when we came into this, when I first came into this, to working with Sonja, I wanted to work with Sonja on the deeper stuff because I had been doing the food program, and I was starting to see there's different layers, not just a diet. There's different layers. And in order to recover, we have to meet those layers and continue to deepen. And what are the words? Oh, what are the words? I don't know. How can I use these words? Because I never really heard these words before used in certain ways. One of the main things, and you'll hear people say this all the time, noticing. You have to, oh, look what I just said to myself. Here I go. Oh, I'm doing it. I'm doing this. Noticing, getting aware. And that is a process that takes a while. Noticing, I'll take the first two, Sonja, and you can do the second two. And resonance, that's a fancy word, but how do I hear you? How can I hear you? To say, I hear what you're saying. I hear you, as opposed to, I want to give you advice as, oh, why don't you try that? Did you try that? Did you ever think of this? Did you ever think to hear you? And learning how to give resonance, how to talk to other people where it's reflected that you've heard them, you start to be able to reflect it to yourself and start be able to hear yourself and give yourself resonance. Give yourself, oh, look what oh yeah, that's not going to be very helpful. How else could I look at that? Giving yourself resonance.
Resonance is near and dear to my heart. And it's a concept that is a little foreign. But it's all about allowing you to be where you are, allowing you to be in the moment, allowing you to feel all the feels that you have. Once you can have someone accompany you in that moment, instead of trying desperately to push you somewhere else, yes, advice is wonderful. Advice is really important. It can give us great new ideas about next steps. But if we get advice when we're in this place, you can feel it. You can feel the box come up, the get smart, doors slam shut. There's something about it, and here's what it is. We're being asked to not be where we are right now. We're making other people uncomfortable, or they don't want us to be uncomfortable. And guess what? Discomfort is a part of living. And that's where the biggest changes can happen.
Yeah.
And the way that you do this is through these 4 cornerstones. Trusted connection. Oh, dear. Oh, trusted. It is the antidote to addiction. There's so much study around this. There's the study of the Vietnam vets when they came back. There's the rat park. Google that sometime. It's a wonderful concept that when we're only faced with food, when that's all we have, that's what we're going to have. But when we have trusted connection and loving support and friendship and belonging rather than fitting in, that's the difference. Trusted connection is huge in building those bridges to help you walk this path. Does not have to be done alone, and it is really hard to do it alone. And in all of that, practice is what changes our neural pathways.
It's a process that we do. Yeah, if you want to hear from us, okay, this is the secret. Now you have it. Now you'll never again have any issues anymore with food. That's not what this is. However, we have created foundational work where others are joining in with us and we don't have to do it alone.
The power of recovery can be this: noticing feeds awareness. Resonance builds trust. When someone can really see where you are in this moment, can empathize with you, they do not need to be in your shoes to recognize that this is a painful time or a hard time or a delightful time. Sometimes we eat because we're happy.
We get excited.
Trusted connection then supports growth. Practice creates change. Lasting change compounds with consistent practice. And the deeper you go, the more healing takes root. It's scary, but it's helpful when you're in community and when you can trust. You don't need to trust everyone on this screen. We're going to get off screen in a minute, and you're not going to know a lot of these people on this screen. And that automatically is going to pull up fear-based parts, rightly. But if you've got at least one person on the screen that you trust, maybe it's just you, it's going to make a big difference. The deeper you go, the more healing takes root. Patricia and I were talking about this. We have actually offered a course in the art of recovery already this last year. I guess we can't say that about this year because it just started. We offered a course and several people have gone through it already. I'm getting feedback on you, Tommy. No, you're good. You're good. I know you'll figure it out. So what we wanted to do, I actually asked, I said, Patricia, would you please ask these people? Because why, Patricia?
Would you ask some people to talk about their experiences that they've had and if it made a difference for them in their lives? And would you do it, please? Because I know I will just be, she says this, I will just be in pain for how the fear that it will rise up in them, and I'll feel so much empathy for them, and you won't give a shit. Just how
So
she means that is, I know it's good for you to go through this, even if it's uncomfortable.
I'm going to stop the share for just a minute, because this is a time for me to be delighted at how far many of you have come. And Wanda's got her hand up. Wanda, what do you got to say, woman?
Yeah. I just want to answer Patricia's call. Oops, sorry. Hope I'm not reverbing. Anyway, I just want to comment on how each of you has blossomed over giving the course or offering the course or having participants in your courses, because that has been just a beautiful thing to witness. And so thank y'all. And I had trepidation when I first signed up for the first one. I'm like, oh, what are they going to ask of us? Oh,
here I go again. How many courses do I have to take before I get?
It's going to be too challenging. I won't live up to it. And I have a call right after this one at the top of the hour. And you guys have always been so gracious just to say, go, Wanda, you can watch the recording or whatever. And that has made me feel like I truly belong. I think that's one of the things. I think our disease tends to isolate us and tell us we don't belong anywhere. And so what I gained from it is also, I think, going hand in hand doing the Resonant Self book that Sonja's guided us to, and also Sheridan Stewart's book. Both of those I wouldn't have come across if I hadn't been engaged with this community of people who can offer things that just open our minds. Right now I'm on to let them and let me. I love it. People are quoting the left them part of the thing, and that's still living in the problem because it's worrying about other people. But the let me do things that make me joyful, that's just been huge. And it's been Yep. And my word for 2024 was brightening. And I said, yep, it came true because I feel lighter and brighter. My weight's the same. I'm in maintenance. I feel lighter and brighter. And so that's awesome. And 2025 word feels like it's going to be self-responsible, not in a Americanized, I got to do this by myself, responsible, but by the interdependence that you guys are showing, that trust others, trust the group, grow in wisdom because of the group offering so much stuff. So sorry, I didn't know all that was going to pop out, but
I really appreciate it. And your perspective is important because you are in a place where you've quote unquote landed the plane, but maintaining that there's nothing out there. There's hardly any literature out there about how to do this.
handle
And
it.
you're not getting the dopamine hits from the scale or from the neighbors and the people that see you. You're not getting any of that. And so this is your opportunity to find new vibrancy in living in this Wanda space.
Wanda,
Mhm.
Wanda's world.
Yeah. No, thank you so much for sharing. Wanda.
Yeah, this is awesome.
I know Kelly had her hand raised. I think that's what I saw. No? Yeah.
Tommy was going to say something too. Where is everybody? I can't see everybody.
Did she run away?
Where's Kelly? I can't see her. There
Can
you
I
are.
use-
Kelly. Okay. I want to
Um,
spotlight you.
I didn't raise my hand, but I know Patricia asked me to say something, so I can go now if you want.
Yeah.
Okay, I did a little quick 3 things. What was I like before doing this? And the Art of Recovery has helped a lot, and the Magic class. So before, like a little quick, what was I like? I had a lot of anxiety and I didn't really understand why I had started gaining all my weight back. I had lost 150 pounds and was in the process of gaining 100 of it back and was devastated, and the self-hate talk was pretty bad. And I didn't really, Patricia and Sonja's, the noticing and just all of that, I could hear them and I didn't quite understand it. So I just kept showing up. I kept getting on the calls and watching other people and seeing other people noticing and talking about it and watching them start to make improvements and noticing that their changes and noticing that beginning to be able to talk and speak up for myself and implement some of these things and tools that they were teaching us. And very slowly things were starting to change and improve. And the fact that coming to the trusted community and the group made such a huge difference. And that's what happened. I just didn't understand how noticing was going to make any difference. Okay, I noticed it, now what? But actually, just noticing it has made a difference, and being able to use the tools. Let's see. Oh, because I really thought I have this overwhelming grief and things from my past that it was like picking a scab. I didn't want to look at any of that. I thought if I go back, I have to relive through all of this pain, and I don't have to do that. What I have to do is figure out that first off, it wasn't about the food. It had nothing to do with the food. It had to do with why I was going to the food to cover up those issues. But I could use the tools that I was learning to work through why I didn't, oh gosh, I don't know how to say this, but the course has given me the tools to work through, to be able to feel my feelings, to feel my emotions, and to have a safe space to go to talk about them, and a trusted community that I can trust that helps give me feedback if I need it, and just sit with me and give me kudos when I need it. And it's just, I lost all my words, even though I wrote them down.
No.
That was
Um,
beautiful. That was beautiful, Kelly, and it
Yeah.
has been an honor watching you.
And literally, what, 5 months ago, I couldn't have done this without Xanax pill ahead of time, and my voice still would be shaking.
One of the reasons I didn't want to call you myself.
I know.
You'll stand with me and I go, it'll be good. I know it'll be strength.
I knew you would be fantastic, and I knew it would be growth opportunity for you, and also just a shining light. You are such a shining light, my dear. I'm getting teary-eyed. But
Just the difference. I missed Patricia's phone call yesterday, and instead of berating myself and getting so nervous and worried, oh my gosh, did I say something wrong in the call? I must have done. I didn't. I just went, oh, I left my phone outside and I missed Patricia's call. I wonder what she wanted. And I texted her and said, hey, I forgot my phone. Give me a call if you still need to talk to me. It's a huge difference from 5 months ago with what my brain would have, the story it would have spawned.
Would have been
Absolutely.
overwhelmed by it and
Yes.
overcome and led by that. And
Yeah.
that affects how we are with our food.
Yes.
Directly.
The results of that affects our desire for something else to fill us.
And because I have had a binge eating disorder, it probably would have led to a binge eventually, because I would have spun this whole story in my head. And it's not a magic pill. It didn't happen overnight. I've had to work the process and listen and show up and put my foot in my mouth a few times. But I'm here.
And be kind to yourself.
Yes.
Yes. Oh, I'm so
And
proud.
with people like Marcia cheering for me and all these other faces. It's, yeah. And Tommy and Jennifer and all you guys.
Really beautiful. Thank you so much, Kelly. Oh, I love you.
Guys.
Tommy, you wanna chatter on a bit?
Sure. I want to say how wonderful it's been with Wanda and Kelly, watching them the past year. I can't say anything those ladies haven't, except that so I was trying to think of how am I a little bit different. I thought, and Patricia and I, this was our work together, I thought I had to get the food right first. And Patricia thought, maybe we don't have to get, but we both, I think, thought that at one point. And I found a way to give myself some grace and say, maybe if I just notice, and the notice is just the crux. It's all the difference. That's the pivot, that's the brain, that's the moment. And this class has helped me grow that. It's each time, this is what I thought, this kept coming up for me while you guys were talking. Each time we go a little bit deeper, each of us, it's, oh, I got my new prescription of glasses. Oh, this is great. Oh yeah, these will work much better. And I'm not seeing anything new. I'm seeing that a little differently, a little clearer. And damn it, if last week I didn't just, or this week I didn't just do it, I didn't even connect it. And it wasn't a binge. Kelly, I shared the binge eating with you. It wasn't a binge. It just was like the next day I go, oh, that's really interesting. My daughter called me upset, and then I went and got the thing. And I thought I had already wanted the thing. I never connected it until the next day. I was like, oh,
You made the connection between your anxiety over your daughter and wanting the
my
food.
daughter calling me in a panic, and it was emotional for her, but I thought I felt fine. I didn't feel caught up in the emotions. Of course I was.
Right.
Of course I was.
Think of it like driving down the road and all of a sudden a tornado hits you on this
I was
side.
hijacked.
You're not expecting it.
I was absolutely hijacked. I was
Yep.
sideways, didn't even notice it until the next day. So it still happens, and I can still go back and go, oh yeah, but I can't believe you. I was like,
Yeah.
oh,
There I
did
go.
that
All
thing.
for
Oh,
nothing.
that's
I have
really
to start all over. It's all done. It's all or nothing.
And boy, I want to talk about this the next time I have a chance to have someone's ear. For me, it's the magic. For me, it's my small group, because this is only one part, and I think that's the most integral part of my growth is I'm coming at it from here and here, but it's all the same work, but I'm working it so differently and not alone, and it's so important. And I just love all of you for being here, and I hope I continue to see all of you in the growth, and I love you, Patricia and Sonja. Thank you.
Oh, thank you so much, Tommy. Thank you. We've got a couple more people in particular that I wanted to point out. Jennifer, do you want to say something? Missy, dear friend of mine.
The quickest thing that I can say for myself, Sonja introduced an app to us called How We Feel. That has made me so aware. You want to talk about how do I notice, like where do I start? For me, that has just been amazing because I have it set to remind me throughout the day to stop. How do you feel right now? What's making you feel that way? And I got it, and it has different colors. And you can go back and look at your list and see back. And I look at it, and, oh, I felt bad in the morning, but by afternoon, I felt good. You mean my whole day wasn't ruined? I thought if I had a bad morning, my whole day was ruined. Oh, look, because I didn't get enough sleep, I was really unhappy the next day. Everything was setting me off, prickly. And it's just helped me make those connections. Those are emotions. They're going to pass. You're going to live through this. Uncomfortable. Oh, yeah.
I didn't know how to feel with anger. Anger came up for me about 6 months into my bright line eating journey, 6 months into my abstinence. All of a sudden, I'm starting to feel all these things and I don't know how to do it. I don't know how to feel. I don't even know what to call it. I don't know how to identify it. This How We Feel app. Mark Brackett wrote a really great book. I can't think of the name of it right this minute. It might be How We Feel, but I'm not sure. Anyway, the point I'm trying to make is that is one of the main reasons we go back to food, because we don't know how to deal with all of these emotions. Jennifer has been a beautiful case in point for allowing and noticing. Go ahead, Patricia.
Can't stop giggling watching Jennifer be so vivacious and so forthcoming. If you only could have seen a physical film of Jennifer, she's just a different being. And another thing I'm noticing about Jennifer that's so awesome and gets my deepest respect is now she's not just noticing, she's going under the noticing and seeing the payoffs she has gotten from being that way. That kind of deep honesty going inside myself and seeing, oh, wait a minute, if I recover, then I won't have the power I had by people doing things for me. Those deep, going even deeper, looking at ourselves. She's crossed that bridge also, which I'm in awe of you, Jennifer, which like gives me reasons to like, I can't believe watching you guys and seeing it. It's just such a privilege. I can't tell you. And when we hear Sonja and I being the beginning of the year and seeing people who are working and they're so afraid to start again because they're only going to fail, and seeing what it takes, the qualities, the depths of the work, just continue, just be at it, just be here, just show up, just come in and see the changes that it makes in people. And we've been doing it enough years now that we have the great privilege of seeing the difference in people. So it makes me confident in this work. It's a knowing. I'm not like, oh, I don't know if I want to trust this again. It's a knowing because I've seen it. Thanks.
Over and over again, over and over again. I was trying to find Tanya here and I'm struggling. Where are you, honey? I can't find you.
You might have had to have.
There you are. There you are. You switched.
Yeah, I have to go to work, but I was gonna drop. Oh, I don't have time to talk. I'm off the hook. But I'll just talk a little bit about the journey that occurred to me on the call. Was when Patricia called me yesterday, my first thought was, I must have screwed something up in the small group. They don't want me there anymore. So I'm still working on things, right? But I noticed and I said, whoa, that's really rough. Why don't you call her and find out or reach out? And it was completely the opposite. So I think for me, every plan I've ever tried, and I think has ended up when life got lifey, I fell apart because I could not cope. I call it the roar, those voices in my head, the stress, the anxiety that would just override me. And the only way I could possibly deal with it is reach out for food. But over time, and then during COVID and during some especially stressful times in my industry and mortgage, I was working 12 and 15-hour days. The weight that I had lost on a prior plan all came back. And I was scrolling through Facebook one night and Sonia had posted about her new group. And I just believe in magic sometimes, which is funny because it is called The Magic. And so I joined, and it took me a month to join a call. And it took me a longer time to even talk. And I just sat and observed for a long time because all these people must have more wisdom than I do. But I say the biggest magic for me is over the last couple months, I'm starting to understand that I have the magic, that the answers are within me, that I can trust myself. I'm not broken. I don't need fixed. Yes, things are tough. Yes, things come up. I'm not sure how to deal with it. But the magic is being able to go inside and say, okay, what's going on here and what do you need? And then it doesn't become about the food anymore. And I'm not saying I'm perfect with the food for sure. It comes up a lot, but a tool that I've used since I was 4 or 5 years old, and it is a journey.
Oh, it's a journey.
It
Thank
is a journey. It is a journey. And I'm so honored to be on this walk with you, my friend.
Thank you.
I'm
you.
so proud of you.
I
There was
never would
time.
have the nerve. I
Mhm.
never would have had the nerve to talk because some of us can't talk till we're perfect. And of course, we can't get perfect
Yes.
because there's always going to be something wrong about us. So how could we get perfect? But I can't talk unless I am perfect. And as soon as I get perfect, I'll be back to you.
Yes. I spent yesterday and this morning writing about what I was going to talk about on the call today.
I wondered.
And I said none of it.
But you
So
needed to write it out. You needed
I
to
did
write it
need to
out.
know.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, honey, that was the main reason I didn't want to ask you, because I knew, but I knew Patricia could do it, because that's the yin and yang of Patricia and I, by the way, guys. That's why we work so well together. We cover all the bases. Oh, Tanya, I'm so proud of you, and I'm so excited. And please enjoy your day.
Thank
Please
you.
enjoy your day. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you all. Thank you all for speaking up. And let's get to what we're offering.
Yeah, let's just not, the hard thing for me is I just feel so strongly about this stuff that I'm not going to mince words or anything, that this is a program that this is what we're going to be covering in this next 14 weeks-ish. What are you willing to go deeper? Are you willing to look at the underlying reasons? We're not suggesting that you stop doing whatever you're doing. Your food plan may be really helpful, but you need some extra reinforcement. You need to look underneath, and maybe, just maybe, you might get to a place where food is no longer loud and screaming at you. We'll talk about the highly sensitive person and food. We'll talk about reframing. One of Patricia's favorite topics is the mind versus the authentic self. She's chattering right now. You can't hear her.
Yeah. Yeah, but then if I do that, then that was. And wait a minute. Let me pretend I have compassion for myself here. What would I be saying?
Breaking free from the thought suppression. If we push it down hard enough or grip the steering wheel tight enough, maybe we'll get through this day. Maybe we'll get through this meal. Maybe we'll get through this gathering, this celebration. Maybe we'll get through. What if you could look at this differently? What if you could move your lens and shift things and break free from that intensity? That there's an approach that you can take that you might not realize because you've been so focused and your energy has been so spent on this journey of releasing the food thoughts. They're not going to go away, but they can quiet. Attachment versus authenticity. Patricia and I have been doing a lot of work with Gabor Mate's work, which is compassionate inquiry. These are all new things, all new areas that we've been focusing on that we think might be really helpful for your journey. This is how the course is laid out. There will be weekly modules starting on January 25th at this same time, Saturday mornings. They'll be recorded, and they will be also supplemented by coaching calls that have already begun. Anytime you sign up, you're going to get into the Thursday night coaching calls that are designed to help answer and explore a little bit more deeply what you learn in the modules or something that's going on for you. I call it SWCC, the stuff we can't control. Each component, which we call the 3 components that we talked about, the practical path, the curious heart, and the awakening self. As Tommy mentioned, she started here with looking at the underlying reasons and not worrying so much about her plan. Others may want to get a plan that works for them. And then we talk about the messy middle here, as in the place that really gets the juicy stuff going. It's one of my favorite spots. And here's the course in another way. It's 3
Let me just say one more, the last part, which is awakening your true self. Who am I going to be if I'm not always engaged with food? If I'm not on a diet, if I am not always involved with how I look, and who am I? I don't even know. That's what we get to explore.
That's what we get to explore. So this is the same information, slightly differently. You will have access to these classes online. as they pop up. And there will be a one-time cost of $3.99 for this 3+ months. There will also be a way to have some payment alternatives if you want to spread your payments out. And as I mentioned, the Thursday calls will be extremely helpful and supportive. We've already found them to be magical. And the class starts, as I mentioned, on the 25th of January, which is 3 weeks from now, I think. Do we have any questions?
Yeah, 25th, I think. Whatever
Did I
that's
say the
like.
25th? I said the 25th.
Oh, okay.
I think so.
Saturday. It's a Saturday.
Yep.
So
You'll know.
you send
I'll
out
warn
a-
you.
Go ahead.
Any questions?
Sonia, could you send out, or did I miss it, the dates?
January 25th starts.
It's every Saturday from the 25th on.
Okay,
Every
No breaks.
Thursday
no breaks.
from now on to the end of the course.
And I'm going to mute you, Linda. There's some sort of feedback there. Yeah, sorry about that. Mimi asked the question, when you say recorded call, is it pre-recorded? No, and that question is important because we had an original live class back in January of last year. And then we did what we called a watch party where we listened to the classes that we'd offered in January. No, this is all new and all live. So
Okay.
even if you have attended this class before, this is a new class that's being offered with all new material. God bless us. I just, there's so much. There's so much. Tommy says, I'm pretty sure you can hop on the Thursday coaching calls now if you sign up for the course. Yep. And you don't have
Yes.
to wait until the class start date. What say you, me? Yes, that's what I say. That is correct. Does anybody have the link to the class up? Can you put that in? I've got it here. I can find it real quick.
I think Tommy put it in there. Maybe I'm wrong.
I don't see it. Oh, yes, it
I
is.
saw Tommy
Okay.
put it up there.
Yep, it is
Yeah.
there. Hi,
So,
Sarah.
hi, who? Who are you saying hi to? Oh,
Dana,
Dana.
she was just validating that Tommy had already put the link up. I knew she would. She's got my back. And there it is again. I need you all to hear that this is my heart work. And I get teary-eyed thinking about the importance of this and how much I've seen just from the few people that have spoken and so many people on the screen that have gone through this course that are re-signing up because it's important to continue this conversation, to see all of the things that are happening for you, that to see
Take some time to sink in
Oh.
and sink in
Oh.
again and again and again.
And if you have taken this course before, there is a coupon code, message me and I'll make sure you get it. But the new folks, I would love to have you and love to see you. And if you have any questions at all, like I said, the class starts on the 25th and we would love to hear more from you if you have any other questions. Does anyone have anything else that they want to say?
I have not a question, but a comment. Someone said they're upset that the class would take so long to start. You guys have, they can purchase the access to the older classes if they want to start those, right?
That is true. That is true. The older class is available. It's ready to go. We're charging $149 for the older class that you can start. And the reason that we're starting it on the 25th, there's a multitude of reasons, but there's so much noise that's going on right now for people. So much new start a diet program. And we really want to make sure that enough people hear about this. And frankly, the 25th is generally the time that the New Year's resolutions have gone. And now you can just breathe a little bit and see this. And that's why we started the coaching calls early. You don't need to know what's going on for you to join a coaching call. We have many new people that have already signed up that are in those coaching sessions and asking questions. And they're all valid and they're all important. Yeah, thanks, Liz. Anything else? Are there any other questions in the chat thread? I did want to ask one thing that Patricia and I do on a regular basis in the class that is a part of noticing. And Patricia calls it the vegetable soup moment. We're all vegetables and we are all welcome. How are you feeling right now?
What's an emotion you are feeling in this moment? Please put it in the chat. All vegetables welcome. No right answers. What emotion am I feeling in this moment?
Excited, excited, belonging, grateful, excited, expectant, calm, relieved, motivated, happy.
And it's okay if you're not having those emotions. Please don't compare yourself. What is the emotion you're feeling in this moment? That would be great. All welcome.
Sad, but here again. Absolutely. That's a real thing to feel sad at this point. I feel like, oh my gosh, it's day one again? No.
Thanks, Amy. Thanks for trusting us with that.
Mhm.
Curious.
Martha says curious. Patty, frustrated and sad. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Because I want it done. I want it over. I want to be there. I don't want to be here. I want to be over there, but I'm not there. I'm here, but I don't want to be here. I want to be over there, but I'm not over there. I'm here, but I don't want to be here. I want to be there, but I'm not there. I'm here. Anybody else understand that feeling?
I'm 1 year short of you, though. I haven't said anything yet, so I should say something. Okay.
I'm not, and you're never done. I don't like when you say that.
It's really hard. There are parts of us that don't want to hear that we're never going to be done. That sounds exhausting, but what if it's exciting?
You can't ever be done because you continue to live your life.
And
Yeah,
present
yeah.
keeps bringing something up that you never expected before to have. What? Wait,
That's right.
it's great gaining wisdom as you're aging. I can tell you that. It is great to feel that and not feel.
Cheryl says inspired, feeling I'm in the right place. Sharon, oh, I don't want to be anywhere. I totally get that. Tommy says, and that's okay to not want to hear it.
So
That's
Patricia,
okay.
what you just said, I think is what it is. This course is gaining wisdom.
Yep.
It's gaining wisdom, not getting wisdom. Not
No.
That's it. Now I have the wisdom.
No, just more wisdom than you had last time.
And things are going to come up. People get sick, people die, things come up that we have to go through.
I want to say one more thing. So I'm adding a spotlight to you and I. This is us and our food. It's exhausting and it's a battle. And it's constant. This is not going to change. Your food issues are not going to change, but you will grow. You will grow. You will. And you already have. You already have. You're here because there's an issue. 10 years ago, I didn't know there was an issue that I could fix. 10 years ago, I didn't know I could heal my brain. 10 years ago, I didn't know that dopamine was such a thing. I didn't know about willpower. I didn't understand about ironic rebound. I didn't understand about the amygdala and the prefrontal cortex. None of these things made any sense to me. And I certainly didn't understand the spiritual aspects of awakening and attachment. And
I knew I was an emotional eater. I knew I was an emotional eater, but that was just a phrase.
Yeah.
Emotional eater.
Yeah.
That wasn't like, yeah, how can we travel down that and work with it?
Thank you all.
It can be done, and we wanted to show you some people who have been practicing that, including ourselves. We're walking the walk.
That's right.
Thank you so much for spending this time with us. And if you have listening to the call for the first time, thank you for listening to the call.
Thank you. Appreciate your presence. Bye, everyone.